Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. Hey guys, well, happy early Valentine's Day. And I know how many of you either cringe when it comes Valentine's Day, roll your eyes, hate it, or some of you have actually embraced it and are excited by it. Or you're just one of those annoying people in a fresh relationship that's like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And I went on Pinterest and I made him this card with candy bars. And I know you guys all know those people we're talking about. Really, I just used Valentine's Day as an excuse this year to be able to share a topic that's been on my heart and my soul that I've wanted to share with you guys. And that's how and why your self-worth and net worth are connected. And I've put on here, it's a Valentine's Day special episode, right? So here's the thing. When we have an issue with our self-worth, it shows up in every area of our lives, whether we are aware of it or not, right? Some of us are more awake and aware than others. Some of us may be aware in certain areas of our life and then totally in denial or blocked or clueless when it comes to money, business, romantic relationships. So it just depends, right? I've done a lot of work to be this awake and aware and out of denial. And truly, it's daily work because when we experience feelings that are uncomfortable, it is a natural tendency for our brains, for our minds to not want to feel uncomfortable. So it shuts down or it creatively looks for ways, whether we're conscious of it or not, to make ourselves feel better. Okay. So some of us use food. Some of us over-exercise. That was my go-to for a long time. Some of us go to people, places, and things and try to fix other people's problems and lives and focus on drama in the family and drama at home. Some of us create drama in order to take ourselves outside of our own shit, right? My latest one, right? And this is always shifting. Even though I've done all this work, my latest one, which seems to circle back again and again in my life, is I can go into that workaholic mode. And there's nothing wrong with working really hard and wanting to spend a lot of time in your work because I truly love my work, right? I've gotten to a place in my life where I am making a shit ton of money off my passion, which is helping all of you guys to do the same thing. And that's really exciting to me. So it's understandable, right, why I could end up really focusing on work. However, right, too much of anything, even if it's a good thing, is really a form of denial and dissociation. So what I mean by that is, right, even drinking too much water and being obsessive about how much water you drink in a day. And I've seen people do this. You're taking yourself out of your feelings, out of the issue at hand versus going inward. You're focusing on something external in order just to not feel and kind of numb out. Okay. I also have a tendency, I'm using myself as an example, but I also have a tendency to do this with TV, like binge on Netflix. Nothing wrong with doing that once a week or something like that, but it's why I'm doing it. It's the why behind what it is you guys are doing. And it's when it's compulsive. You see people, or maybe you have a kid that does this, that get really hooked on video games. That's another form of dissociation. If there was balance and they did other things and they loved gaming too, that's fine. But when it's out of balance, you're running away from something. So our self-worth can get damaged in so many different ways. Mine, as you guys have heard some of my story, in which I will be doing a special episode in March sharing my full story. It's been requested by some beautiful people in my life, and I actually didn't think you guys would want to really hear my true full story. Not because I'm not worthy, but because I think it's going to be hard for some of you to hear. It's pretty intense. So I had to really think about how I'm going to present this. And I'm ready. So you guys will have that coming in March. I'm scared as shit to do it, but I trust that my community, my posse, you guys will support and love me through that. So back to the whole self-worth thing. It shows up in so many different ways. Our self-worth gets damaged from things like in childhood, like I had an abusive childhood, right? So of course, that's an obvious example. Of course, my self-worth is going to be damaged because I was only worthy of what I did for other people. And I'm talking sexual stuff. I'm talking smiled when they wanted me to smile, laughed when they wanted me to laugh, excessive chores, getting A's, and only A's, right? So that is where my self-worth got damaged. Some of us were bullied. I was also bullied in middle school as a result of that sexual abuse. And so my name was written on the bathroom wall, Tiffany's a slut. And you can imagine, right? That, of course, messes someone up. And I'm sure some of you that are listening were also bullied, and you can remember it like it was yesterday. You might have been teased for your nose or your weight or your hair or maybe your accent or even your skin color. You might have been one of the only people at a different skin color in that city. And so you got teased or people ignored you because of it. There's so many different things. It doesn't even have to be in childhood. I know people who proclaim, right, I wasn't there, that they had a great childhood, but then they got into a marriage or a significant relationship where subtly over time, the person they were with just broke them down. It can happen. It doesn't have to always be overt, right? It can also be a boss. Okay. I've worked for people who are very abusive, used fear-based tactics and techniques, and that can really get your self-esteem down. There are so many different things that can pick at your self-worth. And if it is not in a state of it being strong and you're not working on it every day, it will just keep happening. So if I did all this work, right, all the work I've done to repair my self-worth and actually fall in love with myself, I hated myself. And I'm talking, this was just 4 years ago. Totally hated myself. I did not think I deserved to be here on this earth, to where I'm at today, whereas I fell in love with myself. Of course, not in a narcissistic way, but I deserve to be here. God put me here for a reason. The universe needs me here. And I'm worthy of being here just as I am, sitting on the couch or speaking on a stage, or whether I sleep all day or I work all day. I'm worthy regardless of what I do. So I do this so much work, but if I stop doing that work and putting that front and center of all the things that I do to continue to maintain an amazing self-esteem, self-worth, self-love, if I just kind of started blowing off self-care and I slipped back into my old Tiffany ways, I can tell you right now, all it would take would be one, nasty comment or DM for it to derail my entire day. That is a great indicator of when you know that there's a self-worth damaged in there. And most of us are walking around like the walking wounded. Most of us. I'm just saying, there's just so many of us, especially women. We're walking around like the walking wounded. We are. We might even feel guilty to even say, that we have some self-worth issues. How could we? Because, my childhood wasn't abusive like Tiffany's, or like my other friend who was raped in high school, or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be. It could have been one thing an uncle said to you. Like, oh, you should try, exercising a little more. Your belly would be flatter. That's all it takes, you guys. It does not have to be an extreme example like mine, but doing this work is so necessary, because otherwise you end up sabotaging all the things that you really want in your life, monetary things, great success, financial freedom, free to do what you want, when you want, work for yourself, you will end up sabotaging it because deep down, you don't truly feel you're worthy. And you have to get to that point of being able to be aware of it, that you have that hole in you, and admit it. And there's a lot of people who just aren't ready to even admit that. They're in such deep denial because that's how they've survived, was by putting on this like false front, right? A lot of people you see that seem like they have their shit always together. Their makeup's always perfect. They seem so confident. Those people, a lot of them, that is like a false self they've put up. I'm not even saying they're a fake person. They've just done it as a survival skill. And until they break down, which most people eventually do, I did, because I can recognize it in others because I was that person. I was the person, if you guys follow me on my personal Facebook page and you're really bored and want to go deep into my past, I've chosen not to delete any photos, even ones where I'm like, oh, I look fat, or oh, people probably don't want to see this. I don't care. You guys can scroll all the way back and you would probably say, oh my God, Tiffany's always led this amazing life. She travels the world, 5-star, first class. She's been all over. She's always laughing. She's always this. She's won awards, blah, blah, blah. You guys, I had a false self. And I was not a fake person. People would even say to me, Tiffany, you're so real. I would get actually very similar feedback as I get from all you guys now. The difference is when people would give me that feedback then, I would die a little bit inside each time because I knew I was putting on a false front. And if it was kind of like, if they only knew how much I hated myself, if they only knew I was a piece of shit, if they only knew that the very second I get home from whatever, event this is or work day this is, that I like crawl into a hole and almost die. If they only knew I was barely able to hang on, I'm hanging on for dear life, right? So you can have that false front and you're not a fake person. You've done it for so long, you didn't know any other way. And that was a survival skill. I had to shed that false self in order to come into my true self. But that all had to happen through falling in like with myself, as I like to say. You can't go from self-hatred or even like disgust or kind of liking yourself, but not really, and then jump to self-love. Okay. That's like, it's just not going to happen, right? Just like in a relationship. You're not going to go from you're a stranger, I kind of like you, you're kind of attractive, to all of a sudden I'm in love with you. And if you do that, then you have a codependency issue. And I used to have that too. So it's a stage, it's gradual. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't even necessarily happen in 6 months. But I can tell you 4 years ago, I was in total self-hate. I wanted to kill myself. I even planned how I would do it. I even really got close a few times to today, where I truly fell in love with myself. I love and honor and respect myself just for me being me. That doesn't mean I don't have shit days where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so bloated. My skin looks like shit. God, I'm a wreck. Oh my God, I'm a mess. You know what I mean? Of course I have days like that, but I know I take it for what it is, right? I'm a human being. I'm not a human doing. And we all have different emotions, hormones, sleep patterns that can affect our mood. And that's that, right? So our feelings aren't facts. And when you have this like low self-worth, our feelings become facts. Like, you wake up, you're kind of grouchy, you're PMSy, or you're just, didn't sleep well. And then it's like, well, I feel like shit, therefore I'm a piece of shit. Or I feel kind of down today, therefore I'm down. Feelings aren't facts, they're just feelings. But unless you do that work on your self-worth and repairing that, it shows up everywhere in your life. Your bank accounts, your relationships, your clients, your lack of clients, your body, If you're chronically getting sick all the time, if you're holding on to weight, if you can't gain weight, injuries, I could go on and on. If there's constant drama, the type of romantic relationships that you pick, the type of people you're attracted to, friends, it shows up everywhere. So the first place that you guys need to go to is admit that for yourself. It's okay. That doesn't make you less than. Admit that and honor that and see that hole in yourself and start doing the work to repair that part of yourself that is wounded. And the good thing is, you guys, is that you can repair it. It is totally repairable. If I was able to repair it, I know you guys can. If you want to know a starting off point, right, on where to start with this in some direction, just DM me. I'm more than happy to give you a starting off point. I have incredible resources of people I can recommend to you, whether you're willing to work with them privately or you want to just follow them and get inspired by them. But I do have wonderful people to work with. When you privately coach with me, we do go through this process, right? We do go through that, but I only take a few private coaching clients a month. But it is something that I do take you through because it'd be a disservice not to. I could teach you all the strategy in the world, my best tips, my best marketing ninja secrets. I could do all of that, and none of it will matter if this self-worth hole isn't repaired. You will end up sabotaging it. It might not happen in a month. It might happen 6 months from now. It might happen a year from now. But without a doubt, you will sabotage it in some way. So do yourself the loving thing. Do this for yourself. Use this Valentine's Day, this episode. Do something for yourself and sit with yourself and admit where you don't feel worthy. And then take action. Don't just sit and isolate in it. Take action. Reach out to me. Ask for guidance. Anyone who's DM'd me knows I write back. I set aside 2 hours every day to personally answer your questions and help guide you. It's a way that I can be of service. Maybe you already have a therapist or something like that you can discuss this with. But I find it to be the most transformational, important thing I've done in my life. And I've seen many others do it. And what happens and what's on the other side is so beautiful. And your life of ease and joy of the things that you truly, truly want are waiting for you on the other side of that hard work. So the payoff is huge. I want to wish you an extra special Valentine's Day. I love you guys so much. Please take a screenshot if you like this episode and tag me and share it. If you want to show me extra special love, writing me an iTunes, a 5-star written iTunes review would be really appreciated. You need that in order to rank in iTunes. It's just how it is. It's part of the marketing thing. So if you guys could take a few minutes and do that, that would really mean the world to me. If you don't know how, just Google it and they'll take you through it step by step. It'll probably take you 90 seconds. That's literally all it takes. And it would really mean the world to me if you guys want to give back to me in any way. All right. I wish you guys great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you guys. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.